What up, world? It's your boy. The nonprofit sector connector. It's your boy, Tommy D, coming at you. Listen, a couple flights up from the kitchen, just below like the peak of the roof in my attic. I was talking to my guest a couple minutes ago, and he's like, "Where? What do you mean? Where are you? You're talking about leaving the lights on over the weekend? Like, where are you?" I go, "I'm in the attic, baby. This is Philanthropy and Phocus, and every single Friday morning, even if it's a holiday, I still do this show because it's that important to me. Nonprofits change our world each and every day. And it's my focus to do a couple of things. It's my focus to make more friends in the nonprofit sector. It's my focus to bring a guest on each week to help them tell their story and amplify their message. Nonprofits are on the front lines. Nonprofits are all about social services, making an impact, recognition, which is a lot of what we're going to talk about, impact and recognition, which I think is a lot of what we're going to talk about today. I used to do this show with a shirt and tie and a pair of shorts. But you know what? On a day like today, especially when the Metsies, our Metsies, I know if you're watching us on Facebook, you see my friend, he's got a big picture of Yankee Stadium behind him. I root for a team in Queens. So it's all good. It's all love, but the Metsies are looking real good. And I don't even, it's tough to say, so I did a video to promote today's show and I did sing. I sang a little bit of the Meet the Mets song, and I will say to rave reviews. I'm getting rave reviews about that video. I sound like somebody else. Huge. It was huge success, a huge video. So look, I'm excited to have Peter Fertig here, who is the founder and CEO of the Bob Feller Act of Valor Award. I'm happy to have Peter here. We go back. We were trying to figure it out the other day. I started working when I got my first real job after being a bartender for many years. So at 24 years old, when I grew up, I got a job at ADP, Automatic Data Processing, small payroll processing company you may or may not have heard of, very tiny. I think they pay 1 in 5 people on the whole planet or something like that, right? I think it was 1 in 6, but I see the stock price going up. It's got to be 1 in 5 at this point, right? So Peter and I go back to 2003 when I started working at ADP, which feels like 100 years ago, but sometimes I still feel like I'm that 24-year-old kid, and I'm not. I'm 44. So I'm watching what's going on with Peter and his organization, and I get these emails, and being a baseball fan, growing up a Met fan, although I will tell you, as a bartender in the 90s, it was good to root for the Yankees because it was good for business. It was a good, our team, not as much. But it was important. So I will tell you, I was in Yankee Stadium, Peter. First of all, good morning. Welcome to the show. Welcome, my attic, brother. This is so cool. Yeah. I can't wait to see you in real life, because we've now been talking the last few weeks. But yeah, I want to be at one of your events. We're going to do some fun stuff together. But I had my kid, my older son, out of the 2 boys, 2 girls, the whole deal. But I had my older son, who is he's a diehard sports fan. Like, he's a like the word means. He is a fanatic. So we went up to the cathedral up in the Bronx a couple weeks ago and watched our team not win, and meaning the other team, the Yankees won. So but it's that series is 2-2. Maybe we meet again in October. Dare to dream, right? Dare to dream. You remember that, man? I mean, 2000 seems like a long time ago, only because it was a long time.
Forever.
It was 22 years ago, man. That's a long time.
Forever. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and we came up on the losing end of that one, the Mets did, but that's okay.
You ran into a juggernaut.
It was that. Well, that's what it is. I mean, when
we haven't been that good in a long time, so we're getting better, but we're taking a back seat to the boys in Queens.
I tell you, and you know what's funny about the whole thing, and it's like Yankees look great in the beginning of the season, and now I'll tell you a story. I don't always talk too much family stuff, but I will tell you this: my mother-in-law is a big Yankee fan. So early,
gotta be tough at Christmas time.
Well, it's not. So here's the thing about it. It's tough because she's a wise guy. So what she tried to do is she tried to turn my older son into a Yankee fan because she's a Yankee fan and because she thought it would be a real good way to, kind of put the screws, I think. Yes, Grandma, you were trying to put the screws a little bit. So I said, that's not really going to work. I mean, this is how we do it, we are Met fans, and that's the deal. And that's all. So make a long short, I'll try to. And a friend of mine was actually saying, Tommy D, do you even know how to make a long story short? Is that a thing? So I don't think I do. So that's why we never run out of words on this program. We just run out of time to get them in. And I promise you will have 80% of them as soon as I get through what I'm getting.
All good, man.
Good. So I take my son, actually my buddy Josh, and he had tickets up for a Friday night game, Pete Alonso, and I had to deal with something. I'd made a promise to somebody that they could rent out, borrow a conference room I had access to. Long story, I don't get to Citi Field till 9 o'clock that night. It was all good because I had some friends up in a suite. Shout out to Queen's Chamber of Commerce, guys from the Queen's Chamber had a suite. So they said, Tommy D, why don't you and the boys come up? So we came up. But Alonso had tied the record that night, the home run record, the one where the rookie record beat Judge.
Yeah.
And then I'm back there Saturday night with a crew, and my older daughter and the same son we're talking about here, my guy, and he beats the record, and that sort of sealed it for us, for at least for my son. That was it. We love Alonso. He does that thing. He's in the stadium for both of those home runs. It was over. It was that was it. That sealed the deal. And until a month and a half ago, when we were at Yankee Stadium, because a nonprofit friends of mine, shout out to I Empathize, they had hooked me up. They said, Tommy D, we got these sweet tickets. And the Yankees won like 14-2 that night. And I watched my guy looking out at the stadium. And I have this picture, Peter, looking out at the view. You're like behind you, looking out at the stadium. And I go, oh my God, I might have lost him again. Like, just, the allure of being in that place and the history and it's the Yankees. It is what it is, man. Right. So it's funny. My buddy Mick Collins is texting me. He's trying to find out where to find us. Are we on Facebook? Are we on YouTube? Mick is a huge Yankee fan. And I hope he's found us somewhere because this is like kind of a shout out and a little of a ode to him as well, because he's actually named after the Mick. So Mick Collins is named after Mickey Mantle. I'll have to hook you up with him anyway, because aside from being a big Yankee fan, he runs a company called Pay It Forward Processing, and they're a merchant processing company that gives back their net proceeds to nonprofits. So Peter, you need to meet him. Other folks listening need to meet Mick Collins either way, but I wanted to just kind of give that whole upfront thing about the baseball. Why are we talking so much about baseball on this nonprofit show? Well, my friend, Peter Fertig, found his passion, a dream, saw something and wanted to make something better, wanted to add some recognition. So when I did a video the other day, I talked a bit about Bob Feller, but I don't think I'm going to do it the justice that you will. So without further ado, Peter Fertig, founder, CEO of this special organization, the Bob Feller Act of Valor Foundation, Act of Valor Award Foundation. Peter, I hope you're well. Welcome to the show again. Welcome to my attic. What's up, brother? Tell me, let's start the story. What drew you? You're a business guy. We're in business. What draws you to this type of work?
Thank you, Tommy. Let me just begin by saying I'm real appreciative of being on your show, even though it's up in your attic. It's a great opportunity to catch up with an old friend. And just a little history. I used to be a Mets fan.
Exactly.
Believe it or not. Yes. What happened was our friends at the Mets. So I live out on the east end of Long Island. They didn't want to have, a minor league ballpark out here, which I got very upset about. I'm sure you remember that, right?
You tell me the story. Bring me back.
So I was a big Mets fan. Early 80s, since I was a kid growing up. And I shouldn't say that. I was a New York fan, but more leaned towards the Mets because, I grew up in Huntington. When, it was easier to go to Queens than it was to go to the Bronx. So,
yep.
And the Mets were pretty good in the 80s, right? Like, they were a lot of fun to watch, and it was exciting time back in the day. That being said, the Mets killed the idea of having a minor league team on Long Island. The Ducks were born out of it, which are great. But at the time, I was very upset and very passionate. I said, you know what? Let me turn my allegiance to the Yankees, early 90s, when the deal got killed. And I'm like, I look back and best move I ever made. So, look, the reality is I enjoy baseball. I'm not a fanatic. I am more of a hockey fan. I love the game of hockey. That's my passion, if you want to call it that. But I enjoy sports immensely. Wrote a children's book a long time ago. You might know a great Met by the name of Tom Seaver. Tom Seaver was kind enough to do the forward of the book. When we did the forward, we sent it over to Bob Feller. I did not know who Bob Feller was.
Okay.
No knowledge of him.
All right, so that's good. So that's good to set that up, because again,
Sure.
this is your organization, and we're going to do some education on it. You didn't know. Not like you were all aware of what he had done and the service that he had done and things like that?
Nothing. I had no knowledge of who he was, what he stood for. Mind you, this is late 90s when I wrote the children's book, and I spent about 15 years on a 15-minute read. How about that? But I'm very happy about it because it was we've gotten Tom Seaver, Bob Feller, and then Cal Ripken actually did the final thoughts. I was pretty happy with it. I thought I was done. And then I read Bob Feller's introduction of the book, and I'm like, well, wait a second. Here's a kid. Now, mind you, he was a phenom. So one of the great things about baseball is it's timeless, right? You saw the movie Field of Dreams. It rolls by like an army of steamrollers, gets erased, and it's always baseball that stands out. And that'll be true forever, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So Bob Feller, right? The transition was coming. He was 16 years old. I want you to picture. I don't know how old your son is. My son is 17. My youngest is 17.
My oldest guy is 11. Yeah.
Okay. So picture him 5 years from now pitching in the big leagues.
Right. That's incredible.
He was an 11th grade kid. He got signed by the Indians at the time. Now they're the Guardians, but at the time they were the Indians. Signed up and came in, struck out 15 his first game, 17 his second game, hopped on a school bus to finish up his senior year of high school. It was broadcast from Iowa, mind you. So when they say Field of Dreams, that's where everything came together, right? Incredible story, right? Just that alone, because they actually had, because they didn't have radar guns back in the day. They didn't know, they said he was throwing fast, right? You'd have a kid like Hank Greenberg. I say, call him a kid, but Hank Greenberg, when he was playing against us, said that sounded low, right? Like sounded, he didn't see it.
It sounded low. That's the
right.
That it's coming in at. Wow. Yeah.
Incredible, right? So, you have that component of it, and he's about ready to, be the next Babe Ruth. So that's the transition. Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, Bob Feller, right?
Let's pause for 1 second because you got. Sure. I don't want it to be lost on anybody what you're talking about. This is a 16-year-old kid.
Yes. Pitching
against men, right? There might have been some other younger guys in there, but pitching against men and striking out 16, 17 batters, right? In a time when the pitcher would pitch the whole game and maybe pitch a second game. I mean, right? We know the history and the way things have changed, So, yeah.
So just amazing, right? And he did this for 5 years. So he caught Babe at the end of his career and pitched against Gehrig, and the transition was there. And then they did a stunt. I know we have a quick minute.
We're good.
But they did a stunt, right? Because they didn't have radar guns back in the day. And they pitched Bob Feller against a cop. You can YouTube it. It's actually on YouTube, right? Bob Feller against a cop. And I guess the police officer was going about, 87 point something. And he caught up on him on 12 feet. And they clocked it and they did the arithmetic. I can't do the math, but about 104, 105 miles an hour is what he was pitching. Just incredible, right? So here's this kid that's off the farm of Iowa, right? Signs with the Cleveland Indians, gets involved in the game, and then the next thing you know, he's winning 20, 25 games a year.
Incredible stuff. And again, so I'm looking here, teenage phenomenon, 1936 to 1941. He was signed by a guy called Cy Slapnicka.
Yeah.
Right, who was a scout for at the time, as you say, the Indians, now the Guardians. And then there's this transition in his life, and we'll get into it when we do come back from the break. Yep. Where he played 18 seasons, but there was a blip or a break, so to speak, in those 18 seasons for 4 years, and we're going to talk about that when we come back. Peter Fertig is here, Tommy D is here. We're talking about the heater from Van Meter, Bob Feller, because that's going to transition us into what this organization is all about, the work the organization is doing, and the acknowledgement of those who have served this country. Because again, we're bringing it back. It's going to be baseball. Yes, it'll always be here, Peter, but it's a pastime, right? Sorry, everybody, but it's a bit of a distraction. There is real things that go on. There's real life that goes on. And we're going to talk about that real stuff when we come back. Shout out, Mick. I see you, Mick Collins. You found your way to Facebook. I hope he calls me, he puts in there #tangent Tommy. You know what? I'm all about bringing you the whole story, baby. That's what it's all about. Maybe I live in the tangents. I don't actually live right here. I live somewhere out here.
Yeah.
And right now I'm living in the attic. Peter, we will be right back. This is Philanthropy in Focus.
Go get them.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant. And on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Did you know that was coming? Did you know that was coming? Did you know that my theme song shouts out the part of my house just below the roof? Shout out, attic. I love you, baby. I love you too, Tommy D. Very cool. He's speaking to his attic now. Wow.
Love it.
All right.
So nothing's changed in 20 years, Tommy.
Nothing at all.
Congratulations. I love it.
So
Keep
Brian,
bringing your A game, buddy.
that has changed. You know, I have not had a drink, everybody. Actually, in a couple of days, it'll be 12 years I've not had a drink.
Congratulations, bro.
Well, thank you, brother. Appreciate that. That's a big
You
deal.
bet.
Yeah, and I say that I don't bring it up all the time, but I do bring it up because I think it might be relevant to somebody who's listening out there, you know. And I did it by just not having a drink and going to bed that first night, and then that turned into, I don't know, whatever 12 years times 365 is a lot of nights. So all right, so let's get into this. I was sharing the website while we went away to break. We talk about the background of this young man, but then let's kind of let's stop with the teasing. There's something here. He got called to service. He got called to serving his country. So let's talk about that, Peter.
Thanks, Tommy. So, right, he's a phenom, high school. He's pitching for 5 years, right? 1936, 1941. Pearl Harbor comes. Now, he's averaging in 1940, he's averaging between 24 to 26 wins per season.
Did they still 162 back then? Is it kind of the same idea?
It was I think it was 100 and you know what? That's a good question. I think it was 100 and I don't remember.
Mick Collins, that's out to you, Mick. That's a shout out. How many games did they play back in the mid 30s and 40s?
I think it was 150, whatever.
He's winning a big percentage of the team's games.
He's doing a great job as a young man under tremendous pressure and doing very well. Think about it. You want to put your kid, he's 17 years old, graduates high school as he's 18. He's on the cover of Time magazine. He's 18. Now, back in the day, they didn't have the internet and all that other good stuff. So Time was it. Here's this kid, when they did his graduation, it was broadcast from sea to shining sea. The governor was there. It was just a big deal. So this is a kid that understands his place in history. He's going to sign his largest contract in Chicago, 1941, and on comes I think it was Sunday, December 7th, 1941. He hears that the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. He turns his car around, goes right to Chicago. I think it was Gene Tunney, who was the one of the heavyweight champs at the time, was swore him in. And 2 days later, he was sworn into the United States Navy. Didn't hesitate. He didn't waver. Our generation, right? What affected me and probably affected you was September 11th, which is this Sunday.
It's
right?
today. Yep. Yeah.
Yep. So it affected not just New York, it affected the whole country. Back then, Hawaii wasn't part of the Union, right? We were the Continental 48, okay, and Hawaii and Alaska weren't part of it, but we had our ships there, and we got hit. We were asleep. It was an emotional day, but I think about that because I was 34 at the time.
September.
He was 23. He didn't hesitate. He didn't think about baseball. He's the sole supporter for his family on the farm. His dad is dying of cancer, right? Think about that. I think I'm trying to picture my kid, and I got 4 children. 3 of them are older. I can't imagine 3 of them just walking away, any of them just walking away. And he didn't hesitate. He said, Dad, this is more important. My country's more important. Right. And that's where I'm reading this and I'm going, well, wait a second. I'm looking up online. I'm looking at the Hall of Fame. I'm going, nobody's telling a story. How is that?
It's so you came across it because you did the book and then through the Tom Seaver.
Right. So his introduction in the book tells me about his story. Right. It's a nice, he talks about how his dad actually built him a Field of Dreams prior to, and then he talks about going into World War II and getting into it. I'm like, how come this doesn't resonate with me as a student in high school, right? How does this not bounce off the pages of history?
Right.
Now, Bob Feller wasn't alone. There were 10 Yankees, right? Yogi Berra was at D-Day. Bill Dickey, Joe DiMaggio, Lee and Larry McPhail. They were owners. All these guys. We represent now 39 guys that served during World War II. Warren Spahn was at the Battle of the Bulge, the greatest left-handed pitcher of all time, right? Gil Hodges, right? And Buck O'Neill, who were just elected to the Hall of Fame this year, we used to have 37. Now these 2 were elected. Buck O'Neill was in the United States Navy, and Gil Hodges was at Okinawa. All right. And he won, I believe it's a Bronze Star. We're doing more research on him because we have banners that we put up. But the history of what these guys did is incredible. People love them for their baseball exploits. I love them for their military exploits. Here they are in an uncertain time. We know the outcome 80 years later. We did not know the outcome December 7th, 1941. And here Bob Feller didn't hesitate. He didn't waver. And he went out there and he just served. Yogi Berra was at D-Day. Let me say that again. He was at D-Day. Yes, he's got 10 world championships. But as a 19-year-old kid, he didn't hesitate. He went into the Navy and then served his country as a rocket boat captain. If you go to our website, there's a Channel 11 or PIX. They were at we have our educational display unit that talks about these 39 guys, and they were there, and you can get an understanding of what they did. Our veteran community really needs to get, not just behind this, but understand the value of it. Our last professional athlete that we've encountered, and you probably know, is Pat Tillman, who was killed in Afghanistan. He unfortunately died.
While you're speaking through this, I'm going to share, folks, on Facebook. I want to share some of the stuff right on your website. So the website is activevaloraward.org. And I'm just going to go through some stuff while just keep going. I just want to let you know what I'm doing over here.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And I appreciate it. Look, if you go there and you talk about our mission really is to recognize and honor those who support our servicemen and women, and to provide support for the military families and veteran causes. That's our goal, right? We also want to educate on the lessons of citizenship, sacrifice, service, and the legacy that left behind. So that's our 4 pillars that we honor. It took us 10 years to figure all this out. I mean, I've got a book in me that talks about the first year, how I borrowed on my 401k. I never told my wife that, but I mean, to pay for these busts, because before we had the bust, I mean, the first year alone was just a whirlwind. Trying to get, we had support when we started the foundation in 6 weeks, because I woke up one day and I'm like, well, why don't I reached out to Mrs. Feller, Ann Feller, and I said, I'd like to honor your husband, you know, for his service to our country. She said, sure. Everybody thought I was off the wall, bat crazy. And I said, okay.
Who would think you were crazy? Because like, why, what are they telling you? Why are you wasting your time? Why are you investing in this? What?
Think about it from the Cleveland Indians perspective. Here's a guy from New York, a Yankee fan. He's taking the legacy of their greatest player that's ever played the game. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to go ahead and create what? What am I planning on doing?
Right.
And the first year was just
the idea is, what's the angle, right? What's this guy, right? That's always it. What's this guy? How's he going to make money off this thing, right? Yeah.
And just to let you know, we're all volunteers. Not one of us makes a nickel. We've done this because we believe in what the mission is, and we support our service members based on what they do for our country. They're it. If we don't have our service members, you can't have, you know, this podcast.
Yeah.
We can't have these conversations because of what they do for our country. So we continued to just build upon the first year, and in 6 weeks had the support of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, Major League Baseball, the USS Alabama, where Bob Feller served as a Navy Chief Petty Officer, and I think there was well, obviously the Cleveland Indians at the time, right? So we had them, you know, kind of figured out, but we had no connection to the United States Navy. How do you create a crossover award? It's never been done before. So I went to my local councilman, wrote a letter. Believe it or not, LinkedIn is a beautiful tool if you use it right. I met Admiral Michael Jabley, who kind of helped me navigate how to get through the waters of creating it to be an actual naval award. So
I like how you said get through the waters. That was not lost on me when we talk about the Navy. All right. I'll say that. I'm quick, baby. I'm ready for that stuff. Good move. But so the Admiral helped you navigate. I'll play too. Helped you navigate.
Yes.
So I want to pause you there 1 second.
Sure.
Because I have one question, then we're going to take a break. But I want folks to understand, Peter didn't have these connections already. Peter created this. Peter manifested this. And I know he's going to say, well, Tommy, it's not about me. It's about the relationship. Well, guess what, Peter? It is. It's what you did. You saw this, you had a vision, and you created it with, of course, the help of others, because nobody does anything alone. It's about
team effort,
right? It's a team effort, and you have a full volunteer team. And aside from the acknowledgement and the awards, you're making an impact for people who are still with us and who need different services. I know we're going to talk about 22 a day, which is a tragic situation, which would, those of us who are aware of it know that unfortunately, because of mental health challenges and PTSD and lack of another way out, 22 veterans on average take their lives every day. And that's a tragedy. And, if you were here in July, we did 5 episodes, 6 different organizations for July, talking about veterans and services for veterans. So we will talk about that when we come back. Talk about a team though. We're going to come back. We'll talk about the connection with the Navy and that we'll stop, or we'll continue where we stop. But I got to shout out Mick Collins, because talk about a team. I send out a questionnaire, right, into the ether. 148 games they used to play. There's our answer, 148. Thank you, Mick. So he won 24-25 out of 148. And then he says the AL went to 162 games in 1961, the NL in 1962. This is talk about teamwork. Yogi has 3 more as a coach, he's telling me. So 3,
yes.
And then 2 in the Bronx and 1 in Queens.
Yes.
So we will.
He almost won another one.
I watched
3.
I watched something the other. Yes. I watched something the other night, and I don't know her name. It was like late night TV. It was after the Met game. I was flipping around, but Yogi's granddaughter does Lindsay, is that, yeah. So she does a show with the guy, I think they're out of New Jersey or something like
Yep.
that. Yeah.
Out of Montclair, New Jersey.
Abbott, is that his name?
That I don't know, but I do know Lindsay well. We do a
You-
lot of work with the Yogi Berra Museum to honor him on D-Day every year. We'll continue to do so.
All right, well, let's talk about Yogi and things like that too, because when we come back, we'll talk about the programs, the impact you're making, as you and I discussed before the show. This is Philanthropy and Focus. I'm Tommy D. That's Peter Fertig. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Tommy.
Passionate about the conversation around racism? Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. TLC, host of the Dismantle Racism Show, which airs every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc. Join me and my amazing guests as we discuss ways to uncover, dismantle, and eradicate racism. That's Thursdays at 11 o'clock a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a small business trying to navigate the COVID-19 related employment laws? Hello, I'm Eric Sauvert, employment law business law attorney and host of the new radio show, Employment Law Today. On my show, we'll have guests to discuss the common employment law challenges business owners are facing during these trying times. Tune in on Tuesday evenings from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy and Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
We are back. All right, so let's talk about the creation of this, because I did give you the kudos and the shout out there, because you created this, yes, with a team, but it all starts. You look around wherever you are listening to me right now. Everything you look at around that room, around that bus terminal, wherever you are, was created first in someone's mind before it came out in the real world here, or in the actual tangible world. So same with this, Peter. So you're making these connections. You meet the Admiral. You kind of said LinkedIn was a support for you with that. Talk to me a little bit about that piece.
So, like I said, no connections at all to Cleveland. Met Bob DiBiasio. He kind of helped me navigate through the baseball side of things, although we have their support. The finances are on me, so I'm okay with it. I'm all in. I never got a chance to serve my country. This gives me the opportunity to do so and recognize the importance of what they do for our country. So I'm thrilled with the opportunity of what's before me, but I have no idea of the connections on how to do it. So Admiral Javali, navigating through everything, gets to the CNO. Now, again, all these acronyms, they mean something, but to me, it's just gobbledygook.
Yep.
So the CNO is the Chief of Naval Operations, and the Admiral goes to him and goes, we have an opportunity to merge baseball with the Navy. Are you interested? And he says, absolutely. He gets behind it. And by Memorial Day 2013, we're looking to create an official naval award.
How long had that taken to get to that point, to Memorial Day of 13?
So we were talking in late November, creating this whole entity, for lack of a better term, started in maybe January, February, it starts coming together with the Navy. So
Okay.
about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, that's fast for a thing that didn't
Very fast.
right? And you didn't know how to do it, but you
Think
figured
about it. Yeah, think about it though, Tommy. They don't know me from a hole in the wall, right? Here we are creating an entity with the United States Navy attached to it. Forget Major League Baseball and the National Baseball. This is the United States Navy. It's a naval award. My head was still spinning. because he gave me the information on Memorial Day 2013.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I have no bust, I have no award, and the direction is we're still going to hand these out. I contact the gentleman in Kentucky, probably March or April. This is even before we have anything going on. And I say, I'd like to create 3 awards, not knowing what I'm looking for,
Mhm.
right? Meaning I want to honor the 3 components of Bob Feller's life. He was a Major League Baseball player, a Navy Chief Petty Officer, and a National Baseball Hall of Fame. And he's like, great, it's going to cost you about 10 grand. I'm all in. There's no going back at this point. I'm sure the good Lord will help us along the way. And of course he did, but it was just a whirlwind. Because now that it's an official naval award, guess what? That bust in Kentucky, that artist, that sculptor by the name of Wyatt Gregg, I love him to death, right? He's the best of the best. He's creating this. The United States Naval Historical Society has to go in and make sure that that bust is Navy material, meaning it has to be adhered to whatever the Chief Petty Officer hat was back in 1941. That's how meticulous they are. Very, very meticulous. That's to your point saying, hey, how do you get a naval award done in 5 months? You usually don't, right? So Admiral Javeley, I give him a lot of credit. He put his reputation on the line for a guy that he's known maybe 7 or 8 months at the time. And he's like, look, we're all in.
Yeah, but let me just interrupt you for a sec, because that's about you. Let's be real. That's about your passion. That's about your integrity, because nobody's going to put themselves out there without that trust factor and that connection and that relationship. It's just true, right? So you're in your presentation, I hate the word pitch, but in your presentation and your explanation and your passion for what this project was and meant to you, it came across to him. It had to. All right. I mean, that's the only way that you go out and quote unquote take a chance on someone, right?
You're right. 100%. 100% right, Tommy. Look, when you get an opportunity to find your purpose in life, whatever that purpose is, right? And it just so happened, again, this wasn't about money. It wasn't about fame. It was an opportunity to serve my country. Because at the time I was 45, what you are now, right? About 44, 45.
Yeah.
Right. I found my purpose. It took me all this time getting there. Right. I had to learn how to write. You should have seen the letters that I would send to the Secretary of the Navy and how, I mean, it was a bloodbath. They took it. They beat it up. You can't use a comma here. Every word, every punctuation, meticulous. Can't do this, can't do that. And I didn't have, I'm go Red Dragons. I'm a Cortland State grad, right? So I'm sitting here dealing with guys from a Naval Academy. You're talking about guys, 4-star admirals, 2-star admirals. I'm way out of my league, way out of my league. And these guys are navigating me through here, do this, do that. And somehow we got the support, got it through. And now we're in the summer of 2013. Still don't have the busts made. And yet we have a date of Veterans Day of 2013 to give out the awards, because Ann Feller is getting old and older, right? And I want her to see this before she passes.
So that's all right. So you got a timeline, right?
Yes.
And, okay, so we have a date. It's Veterans Day. That's where we're gonna go.
Yes.
And where was it gonna happen? Where was the
So again, I originally wanted to do it at well, it ended up at the United States Navy Memorial, but at the time I was thinking, oh, come on, Ferdy, get it together. It'll come back to me.
Not Annapolis. Is that
so the United States Navy Memorial is on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Okay.
And it holds about 250 people. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility. Again, I know nothing about DC at this point. Right. Everything is all virtual, right? All the conversations that we're having here, all the back and forth with the artist, all the back and forth with the Navy and baseball, all this is going on simultaneously. We haven't even done the nomination process yet. What does that look like? How you create a board? What does that mean? Bylaws, all these things that I was totally ignorant to. I'm learning on the fly. Oh, and by the way, like you said, I still got a job to do at ADP.
Of course,
right?
Yeah. And the jobs we do come with a quota. It's not like punching a clock. You actually owe somebody something. Yeah.
No, it's you're on. You go ahead and make this happen. But you're going to hustle for it. There's no gray area. So trying to build a team that understands the value of what we're doing, we want to recognize and educate those three components. So we get, we do our on-field ceremonies. Okay, so what does that mean? So who gives back to our military? So we had Nick Swisher from Cleveland, and we had Justin Verlander from, at the time, the Detroit Tigers. And there was a couple of others one was from Kansas City, and there was another gentleman, I think, from San Diego. So we had about 4 our first season, and we didn't know what the heck we were doing. What does this look like? How do we know about them? What's going on? So, all right, the Navy is going to take care, right? The Navy is going to take care of that side. The baseball, Bobby D will help me with the baseball component. We do an on-field ceremony, and then the board voted on Justin Verlander for that. And then we're like, okay, well, who's our Hall of Famer? Again, we didn't know. It ended up being Yogi once we found out, because Yogi, obviously, there was an education process. He did work at D-Day. So we're hustling, we're figuring out all these details. And then the government shut down. People don't remember this, right? 2013. Now, when the government shuts down, the Navy shuts down. All this is going on in the first year.
Man, I mean, listen, I don't even want. I'm not big on negativity, but at certain points, I can imagine that certain thoughts creep in and go, "What the hell am I doing, man? Like, should I keep doing this? Should I keep doing this thing? It's all right. Dogs are welcome on the show, Peter. No big deal, man. I do another show here in the network, called Professionals and Animal Lovers Show. We're all about animals. It's all
okay.
It's all good. But hello there, dog.
That's Toby.
Who is it? Kobe?
Toby.
Oh, Toby. What's up, Toby? I'm Tommy D. Nice to meet you. Look, it's doubt sometimes does try to find its way in and creep in. So
you have no idea.
But there's nothing about like failing, right? Oh man, we're hitting a brick wall here. Well, let's go around the wall. Let's freaking get a hammer. Let's knock the wall down. Whatever. Get a bulldozer. I don't know. Figure it right.
It was insane, right? You're bringing people into an environment that I have no knowledge of. I have no knowledge of DC. I've never been there for other than as a guest to visit around and do things. And here we are, we're bringing it. The Navy's taking care of their guy. And it was up to, thank God for Admiral Javeley. He reaches out to Justin Verlander's parents who live in Virginia. They pick up the phone and go, he's been nominated for the inaugural award. Bingo. He pivots his plans and comes to our event. So all of a sudden now you got Justin Verlander, you've got Yogi Berra, you've got, and Garth Sinclair, a Class A chief. He was a senior chief in the United States. He wasn't a senior chief at the time, but he was a chief. So all these folks are coming together, and we got a party, and I still have no money, right? All of this, you gotta get alcohol, you gotta get food. I don't know what I'm doing, and I got to get the venue. How does all this come together? I mean, and so
team-wise, who are the people you want to shout out? Your original board. Who are the people that the Admiral? Obviously, we've talked about.
Admiral Michael Javeley, Bob DiBiasio, Bob Arnold. There's been a lot of good people.
Bob Arnold from on the island here. I knew him and his dad. I know Bob, of course. Shout out, Bob. I hope you're well, man. Yes. I didn't know you guys that he was involved. He's a great guy.
Bob is a great guy. He was with us for our second year and I'll tell you about that another time.
Yeah.
But look, I know we're on a heartbreak, but
yeah, that's all right. We're good. Keep going.
Yeah, look, the reality is that we got through the first year and we took a sigh of relief and things started to formulate the actual getting a nonprofit entity, right? The 501c3, because everybody that donated at that time, they just were kind out of their kind hearts. They knew that I was going to try to do the right thing. It wasn't about me. It was about what we were trying to accomplish.
Right. So it was like maybe you hadn't had everything in place, the infrastructure, the 501.
No infrastructure. Nothing.
The whole thing. Yeah. All right. So look, let's do this because I want to drive home what the impact that the organization is making. So when we come back, we have what I like to kind of refer to as the lightning round. It's our last segment of the show. So we're going to pull it. We're going to leave everything out on the field. We're going to leave it all out there. And I want you to talk to me about what the programs are, what it looks like, who we impacting, and then what do we need, what's coming up, things like that. So we'll do it like kind of rapid fire. We'll be right
Love
back.
it. Thank you.
In Focus.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy and Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
In a post-COVID world, you may have many unanswered questions regarding your health. Are you looking to live a healthier lifestyle? Do you have a desire to learn more about mental health and enhance your quality of life? Or do you just want to participate in self-understanding and awareness? I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each Thursday, I will tackle these questions and work to enlighten you. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will be frank about health to advocate for all of us.
Calling all pet lovers.
Pet Avengers, assemble!
On the Professionals and Animal Lovers show, we believe the bond between animal lovers is incredibly strong. It mirrors that bond between pets and their owners. Through this program, we come together to learn, educate, and advocate.
Join us live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. at talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
All right, that's right. We're in the attic. Where else would I be? 2 flights up from where I get my coffee in the kitchen. We're back. This is Philanthropy and Focus. This is the lightning round. This is the lightning round. All right. I always wanted to be a game show host, Peter. You probably didn't know that, but you do now. So we're going to go through it. It all started with this book. It all started. There's another book too. There's the Casey book, right? So if we have time, you tell them about the Casey book. You know, the deal is on strike 3. Tell them.
That's where it all started, right? It took place after Casey struck out from his 8-year-old son's perspective, right? It's a story of good and evil and right and wrong and temptation and deception. And that's where Bob Feller, Tom Seaver, and Cal Ripken got involved. I then created, because of the foundation, another book called Walk of Heroes, a profile of valor of all the 39 Hall of Famers that served during World War II. If you want to get a copy, just ping me online. I'll be more than happy to send you a copy, whether electronically or not.
So we'll talk about. So I'm going to share what you sent me so they can see it. But how do they get in touch with you? Let's shout that out quick.
Sure. It's you could reach me at pfertig@activevaloraward.org or peter.fertig@adp.com.
Got it. All right, cool. And the website again. Shout out the website real quick.
Sure. It's activevaloraward.org.
So this is something you all can get from Peter, but this is where it all started. And it's the book, the story Mudville never knew. So I love it's from a different perspective too. We don't have too much time to go into that now, but it's from his son's perspective, the mighty Casey's son, So let's go into what is the impact that the org's making now, aside from giving out and recognizing, giving the awards and making the recognition piece. Talk to me about what are the programs and things.
So what's nice is we began our nomination process. Yesterday we were in St. Louis. The day before we're in Minnesota. We're going to be in Milwaukee, Mike Trout and Justin Turner in Los Angeles. So, and our friends in the Mets, Carlos Carrasco, I believe he is still with the Mets, if I'm not mistaken. And he's going to be nominated. So we have 10 nominees this year. Gentlemen, Christian Yelich from Milwaukee, Yastrzemski from San Francisco. So we got a lot of young people that care.
Or is this virtual for you? Are you
look, we have people that represent the foundation all over the country, and we get the Navy Chiefs. That's part of our outreach, right? Is to honor the Navy Chiefs. They go on field, they get to meet Mike Trout, and they get to meet Christian Yelich, and that's pretty cool for them. So it's a great experience. And then we get to honor these people that give back to our country. That's part of our nomination process. So moving on from that, that's real good. We're doing we're trying to raise money for military children. That's why we're having a walk and a run. This weekend, we're going to be in Maine, at Patton, Maine. My friend, Command Sergeant Major Steve Curtis, Vice President of the Foundation, Richard Schmidt, up there in Patton, Maine. They're doing a run. So they're raising money for the foundation. All the money raised goes to military scholarships. So if you're a spouse, if you are a child of a military family member, we ask you that you write an essay on one of the 39, how that impacted your life. We go into a rubric, and then we had 40 people last year. We awarded 6 scholarships. So we do these programs, tribute events. We have what would I call them? University speaker series, where we've gotten we want to educate the younger generation about the 39, but we want to also educate them on how to, what does the future like, right? You're in college now. What do you want to do pivoting away from it? So we have, we've done events at Ohio University where we, but this was pre-COVID, actually had it at James Madison University, Emerson College, Dean College, where people can ask questions and find out how to interview and what's involved. And we bring sports people from all over. We bring military people all over, sit down and, talk about what their careers are. So we have an internship program that we have where we mentor young people that go out there and try to, get better at what they're doing. So they're getting, better at social media. They're educating us, the old dinosaurs, on certain things that help us get better, and we in turn help them. We have an educational mobile unit. I talked about that. That was we raised $15,000 that goes around the country. It's been in the Yogi Berra Museum. It's been in the United States Naval War College. It's been at the United States Navy Museum. We've had it so that we can go and do those programs to educate them on the 39 Hall of Famers that served during World War II.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for all that. I mean, this is so special. And again, how many lives are now impacted, aside from the acknowledgement and the recognition, but are impacted by the work that is now happening, the education. And I love something that really stood out for me with what you just said there was, while your word dinosaurs know certain things and can educate the younger folks, the digital natives. And, the digital natives are old people now at this point, right? It's that next generation. But there's so much knowledge. If at 5 at the time, last time I heard, it was 5 different generations of workforce, maybe it's at this point, and if, this show is about community, I'm about community. And if there's a way where people can remember that 60, 70, 80-year-old man, woman has a ton of wisdom and a ton of knowledge, they know a bunch of stuff, man, and there's a bunch of stories, and they want to share, and vice versa. The young people have so much to share too. I'm not, maybe I'm being silly and everybody's like, of course, Tommy D. Well, of course, if it was of course, then this stuff would happen all the time. It's not of course, right?
It's constant movement, Tommy. And what you'll be surprised at is this constant movement in the marketplace, because a lot of the seasoned people, I call myself seasoned, I don't call myself old, but I've been around enough where the younger people coming in, they just want to learn and they want to be educated and taught the right way. And I'm talking about what I do at work for ADP,
Sure.
right? You come in as a blank slate, you want to treat them with respect. They come in with the energy and you just want to help them. If you help people get what they want, guess what? You get what you want.
Zig Ziglar. If you help enough people get what they want, you'll get everything you ever wanted. Love it. Love Zig. Love all that stuff. Been listening to the old stuff. Listen to Jim Rohn lately.
Yep.
I listened to 7 hours last Saturday while I was cleaning the attic. I listened to 7 hours of Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. I mean, the class, this stuff is all out there. It's there for you if you want it. So, all right, I want you to, in the last moment or two, I want you to talk about, what do you need? I know you said you need volunteers. So I know one young 11-year-old volunteer that my kids dig the service because I've taught them to dig doing service, and I know one 11-year-old who is a baseball fanatic, a sports fanatic, that will certainly be volunteering in some of the stuff you're doing. So what do you need? Talk to us about that.
We're having our run and our walk next week. So this week we're in Patton, Maine. So unless you plan on traveling 8 hours to go up to Patton, I think we got that covered. What I'm hopeful for is, we have an event, which is our walk. It's a 22-mile walk, right? The 22 a day, we talked about that. So you can walk up to 22 miles. You can do one stretch of 5 miles, and pay that. And whatever money, so far we raised about 5,000, which is not enough. We need to raise probably in the neighborhood of between 15 to 20,000. So we're not where we need to be just yet. I'm hoping that this show that you're doing with us, and we appreciate it, will reach enough people to say, hey, donate to the cause. Again, 100% of the money goes towards military children and spouses. So that's what we're trying to.
Shout out the date on next week, and where is that all happening?
That's out in Southold. It's going from Southold to Orient Point and back. Starts at the Southold American Legion, then comes back to Orient Point. They flip it around, which is 11 miles. And again, you don't have to walk all 22. You could just go to Greenport, which is 5, have a couple of beers, park your car, we'll drive you back. So we've got that covered. And then the run the next day on Sunday, September 18th at Vietnam Veterans Memorial Park in Wading River. We would love for those that want to be a part of it. Love to have you, come and join us.
Awesome. What do you, how many people you expect to get out at that event?
Well, right now we only have between 60 and 70. I would love to get, between 150, 200. I'd love to make it like the Michael Murphy, right? Yeah. Michael Murphy gets about 4,000 to 5,000 every year. I welcome the opportunity to just grow it to, 500 to 1,000 people.
I want to be a part of that growth. I want to be a part of the impact you're making. I will put this out there. You don't have to say yes or no right now, but my dad owns the Rouse Ices in Huntington on New York Avenue, right next to the Paramount. If it's appropriate, we'll come out. I'll scoop some Italian ices that day during the walk. It's always like, look, if somebody's going to walk 22 miles, I could at least scoop a couple hundred ices, man. You know what I'm saying?
Love it.
So if you want it, it's there. We'll talk about it after.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I love doing that for my nonprofit friends. Want to shout out everybody checking in on all the social media. Mick, want to shout you out. I appreciate you. My buddy Mick Collins, who we spoke about several times, Peter, is a veteran, an Army veteran. So shout out.
Thank you for your service.
Your service, brother. We appreciate you. I too did not serve, so this is my service. This is how I want to be here for those who have served. I put Mick's information. I put his company is called Pay It Forward Processing. I'll connect with you later on, Peter, but I put it on Facebook. So if you've heard me talk about Mick a whole bunch now, you're probably like, well, what's this guy all about? Well, he runs this merchant processing department of this company, and they do special work giving back money to nonprofits. We'll talk about that in the future. Peter, I appreciate you. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having us, Tommy. Much appreciated. Of course. And I look forward to work with everybody in the future. Thanks, guys.
Have a great day, man. We'll see you later.
Too. Be well.
Later, guys.
Bye, guys. Just take off.